What would you guys say, honestly? What would you say if I told you that WWE brought back John Morrison, Sheamus, and the Usos all in one show last night at WWE Smackdown? What would you say? All of them. All four gentlemen, Sheamus, Morrison, both Usos, Jimmy and Jay, all brought back one show last night to start off 2020. You would say probably, wow, that had to have been a good show. But then what if I immediately reminded you that this is WWE that we're talking about? You would probably then think, shoot, good call, BC. I should use common sense. I should use logic. I should enter the realm of reality. They probably dropped the ball on one or two of those returns, didn't they, BC? Well, what if I told you, nah, they dropped the ball on all of the returns, because every one of those returns, they were all brought back in the most non-memorable way that I could possibly think of. Just some more 2019 all over again. 2018, 2017. We're starting 2020 off the same way. Things that should be, if not memorable in a big grand spectrum of it all, at least make an impact. None of these returns made an impact. Not for the night, and definitely not for the foreseeable future. But we'll go over each one of those returns, and I'll explain in detail exactly what I mean by Sheamus's return, by John Morris's return, and by the Usos' return. Not being memorable, not being impactful, and not meaning anything. And on top of that last night, this completes the big duo. Vince McMahon's golden duo, right? Charlotte Flair, Roman Reigns. He will stop at nothing to make sure that 2020 is their year. As if they haven't had enough championship matches or titles or been in the spotlight long enough when a lot of the audience didn't want to see neither one of them at the top spot. 2020, Vince McMahon is going to be more stubborn than ever before, and we're already seeing that take shape and unfold. Monday night, Charlotte Flair declared she was one of the first, I believe the first, to enter the Royal Rumble. It had to be Charlotte Flair announcing that. And then last night, Roman Reigns becomes one of the first to put his name into the Royal Rumble match. So right off the bat, both shows, Raw back-to-back with SmackDown, Charlotte Flair first, and then Roman Reigns second. They're both announcing their participation to this year's Royal Rumble, and don't be surprised if they both end up winning this thing down in Texas. So again, just some more 2017, 2018, a little more 2019 sprinkled in there. 2020 is already starting off like the past of WWE. The only difference, this could be an even more stubborn Vince McMahon. This could be even more of a worse year. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. That's just what I am viewing after last night's atrocity. Let's go over it, though. Let's start from the jump, right? It started with Sasha Banks and Bayley last night. They kick off the show. Normally, you want to say that's a good thing. Bayley became a fan of hers, at least in 2019, with this new attitude. The only problem is I wanted to see more of her on her own. Sasha Banks, we know, should be on her own. She took that hiatus in 2019, and when she returned, we wanted a huge run for her on her own. They mixed her back up with Bayley. Now with this new heel persona in both of them, I was down with that. But I didn't want to see them always together. Once in a blue moon is fine. What did we see? Most of the tail end of 2019, and what are we already seeing in 2020? We're seeing Sasha and Bayley attached at the hip. Sasha's music plays for about 7 seconds, and here comes Bayley. It's the same shit when they were in the Boss and Hug Connection. Now just with different personalities. But they're still the same losers, right? The championship on Bayley means nothing. We've already seen that Survivor Series. She was the fall gal. She was doing the tap out to Baszler while they protected Becky Lynch. It's been seen and shown time and time again that the title on Bayley is basically just a consolation prize. The real championship for Vince McMahon, for the women anyway, is that Raw championship on Becky Lynch. Bayley's is like a consolation prize. Sasha and Bayley constantly joined at the hip. I am done with that. I am over with it. Separate them. Sasha Banks is too damn good to be tied down with anybody. So they're back together last night, and Bayley is saying, and I quote, 2020, her and Sasha were forced to make drastic changes. No, trust me, that was good to see. But can you do it on your own every once in a while? Lacey Evans and Dana Brooke then head to the ring, and Lacey once again tells Bay and Banks to leave her daughter out of it. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross then head to the ring, and Alexa says, I guess we'll just start 2020 off with a win. Okay, good. What does any of this have to do with anything that's going to excite us for the night? I'll tell you, nothing. All of that led to a commercial, and when we came back from the commercial break, it was just that triple threat 6-women tag match schmaz. All of that gabber on the mic was just to set up those 6 females in a tag match. Nonsensically, schmaz fashion. This matchup was far from good, but nowhere near bad, so whatever. I can take it or leave it. My issue is Dana Brooke at the end of this thing pinning Sasha Banks. That's right. First of all, a lot of people are blaming Dana Brooke on this. I understand. Listen, she did this senton type style splash from the top. Senton, nowhere near what Jeff Hardy would do, obviously. But she's trying it, right? She jumps it. She's off her mark. Absolutely. She literally lands square into Sasha Banks' gut. You felt for Sasha at that moment. You felt her pain and the anguish in her face because Dana Brooke was off her mark a bit. But come on, you look at any lady that does any move off the top rope and you tell me how often they're on their mark with those type of flips. Moonsaults, dives, you name it. Most females are usually off the mark. That's why you have to brace both arms up. You'll see Sasha do it last night. You'll see any individual, even the dudes, when they're about to take one of those big splashes from the top, they'll brace both arms up. You have to brace for the worst, which is the full body into the gut. That is the worst case scenario. That happened last night. I'm not going to place too much blame on Dana Brooke. And it's a maneuver she's trying out more and more for her finish. Listen, let her rock it out. If Sasha braces, they'll talk about it in the back, right? Sasha will be like, dude, can you a little bit more upper body on your landing, right? Talk it out a little bit, but I'm not going to sit here and drag her. I've seen a lot of the dudes do that plenty of times before, and I'm talking about the ones that's in their arsenal, and it has been for years, and they'll land square into somebody's gut. Sometimes it just happens. It's pro wrestling, it's not ballet, right? So I'm not going to drag Dana like a lot of people are, but that was harsh to watch. My problem is just in the booking of it. Dana Brooke defeating Sasha Banks. What? And I'm a supporter of Dana Brooke, by the way. I know that's not a popular opinion to go with Dana Brooke. That's not a popular statement to make, that I am actually thinking Dana is improving, that I actually think Dana Brooke has more than what we have seen or what has been shown. I think Dana Brooke is actually doing the work, and that's good to see. She is not quitting. She is actually putting more work into it in her training. I actually don't mind a push for Dana Brooke in the future, if done correctly. This is not done correctly. Beating Sasha Banks, who came back in 2019 to basically nothing. She had her new attitude, but then she just got reattached to the hip with Bayley. She has no championships, only one big-time match, and that was with Becky Lynch, and that was a one-off. Becky just made sure that Sasha took an L, and they never even had a rematch. They were off into the sunset, and Sasha Banks came back just to do that one job. And then they had nothing left for her. So how do we start 2020 for Sasha Banks? How about a loss to Dana Brooke? Nonsensical tag team match in the middle of SmackDown, and Sasha is just eating an L. Not even to Lacey Evans, by the way, who, for some reason, for some dumb reason, they're in a feud with Lacey Evans to begin with. But it wasn't even to Lacey. Dana Brooke made sure that Sasha ate the L. Dana Brooke made sure that she was covering Sasha Banks. Man, if nobody sees a problem with that, man, and again, this is somebody who wants to see Dana Brooke succeed, so if you're talking about somebody who's calling it down the middle, you're talking to him. A lot of people in the community just bash Dana Brooke, and then this morning they're saying, wow, Dana beat Sasha, how stupid. Well, no, I support Dana Brooke, and I want to see all of these individuals succeed, if they have the talent to do such, if they're working their asses off, and they have the right type of creative and booking behind them, I will support them. Not necessarily be a fan, but I will at least support. Dana Brooke is one of those individuals. Beating Sasha Banks last night was not the way to go. Sorry, not sorry scenario. 2020 is a new year. Sasha Banks needed to bring the fire, and that starts with creative and booking. They did not even allow Sasha Banks to get off the jump, straight out the gate, to be a winner. They started 2020 the same way as every other Sasha Banks year has gone, as a loser. That's absolutely mind-boggling to me. So anyway, your champion, Bayley, and somebody with the skill level and talent of Sasha Banks, they take the L to Dana Brooke and Lacey Evans. And Alexa Bliss, for some reason, is even in this match with Nikki. I don't have no idea, man. Vince McMahon just wants to make sure that every blonde he has in the company is being used somehow at the top form capacity. Elias is up next. He's performing another diss track. He's ripping Dolph, he's ripping The Revival, Sami Zayn, Shane McMahon, among others. And this leads to literally nothing for Elias. They're literally nothing. We don't know what this was for. It looks like they're just trying to make him another babyface yet again. So in Elias's short career, he's already been face and heel about 4 different times. So he's already joining the category of The Big Show, Kane, Miz, Nia Jax, right? They've been a face and a heel about 27 times apiece. Elias is going to be in that realm if he sticks around another year or two. So instead of an Elias match, this ends up being Shorty G versus Dash Wilder. Shorty G defeats, I can't even believe I'm saying Shorty G. I mean, how? Earlier in the night, too, there was a backstage segment with the Revival and Shorty G, and he's telling the Revival to embrace who they are because he's done that, and he looks at his little Shorty G wristband. He's embraced being Shorty G. Okay. Shorty G defeats Dash in just 2 minutes. Dawson then attacks Shorty. Then Sheamus returns. That's right, Sheamus returns. The Revival retreats, but Sheamus takes Shorty for a wild ride upside down via a bro kick. So they brought Sheamus back to feud with Shorty G. They brought Sheamus back in the middle of SmackDown to do a bro kick to Shorty G. Not even attack him after the bro kick, too. Really make an impactful comeback. No, a bro kick. His little music plays, and he's doing his little bro showdown, and that's it. He's already forgettable. He's already old school Sheamus. Good job, WW. You really put the capital E in entertainment there, man. What a bray. All these vignettes for Sheamus, and that's how you bring him back. Beautiful. Thank goodness we ended hour number 1 at that point. Hour 2 kicks off with The Miz versus Kofi Kingston. That again kicks off hour number 2. Now, Miz loses here. Kofi defeats The Miz with literally under 5 minutes, I believe it was. I think it was 4:45. But Kofi Kingston defeats The Miz. Afterwards, The Miz loses it and takes out Kofi post-match. As The Miz is walking up the ramp, he's berating the crowd. He's screaming out to the crowd, "How could you? I did everything for you." So this completes, it looks like anyway, the 149th heel/face turn for The Miz. Looks like he's already going a little bit more heelish. Again, they don't know what to do with these guys, so they just keep flipping them. It's like a fucking pancake. Now, the post-match back in the locker room, Kathy Kelly tried to get answers from The Miz, but John Morrison exits the door and says Miz has nothing to say. So John Morrison returns to WWE by walking out of The Miz's locker room door and saying that The Miz has nothing to say. Then walks right back. That's John Morrison's return. You couldn't have waited for the Royal Rumble. I'm not saying John Morrison was going to be like the fucking Beatles, right? And everybody was going to explode in anticipation, in excitement. Wow, it's John Morrison. But at least a Royal Rumble entry, because we knew, we had heard rumblings that he was signing. Then they actually broke the news that he had officially signed. And then a long time has passed between the announcement and him showing up. Royal Rumble would have been the time. Unless Vince was too afraid that he would get more cheers than expected, and that would steal Roman Reigns' thunder. That's happened before in the past with Daniel Bryan and Roman, trust me. And I know Vince was probably thinking that. So let's bring Morrison back in the most unmemorable, uncreative, and lackluster way we possibly can. And that's exactly what they did. That was far from Johnny Impact, because there was no impact made. He just exits Miz's locker room and says Miz has nothing to say. Wow, thanks for coming, John. Unreal. And I know him and Miz have some history. I think they were called the Dirt Sheet. You guys remember that? I think Morrison's last match was the Miz actually taking him out, I believe. So there's a lot of history with those two. It still doesn't mean that's how Morrison should have been brought back. And if that was who he was supposed to be brought back to work with, it should have been done much better than that. At least get semi-creative. Semi. I'm not even asking for a lot here. Just semi-creative. Make us care about John Morrison. Up next, Otis defeats Drew Gulak via a Vader Bomb. That's right, I still call it a Vader Bomb because I'm old school. Good for Otis. One of the best storylines in WWE right now, I feel, is Otis and Mandy Rose. And all they had them do backstage last night is Otis was a little bit depressed about what happened last week with his mama's cake and Dolph stepping on it. And you have Mandy Rose a little bit, she's a little saddened that Otis is saddened. All right, that's what we should be doing with the story, but a little bit more substance last night would have been nice, right? It's actually a good story. Let's add more into it. You can do more. You don't have to rest on the bare minimum. And that's what this company always does. It rests on the bare minimum. Braun Strowman is up next. He defeats Cesaro via a power slam. Post-match, Shinsuke delivers a Kinshasa to Braun. So this is probably going to set up an Intercontinental Championship match between Shinsuke and Braun. And it's probably going to lead to the Dancer Among Men winning the Intercontinental Championship. Well, that's great. Then he can take his title. The New Day can take their titles. And they can all have a dance-off. And if Nicholas is out of school, Braun can invite Nicholas over, and afterwards they can trade their Capri Suns at lunch. This all leads us to the main event, which is Dolph and Baron versus D-Bry and Roman. This was the main event. D-Bry is taken out towards the end of this match by Bray Wyatt, leaving Roman to fend for himself as Dolph and Baron handcuff Roman and bring out some more dog food. Now, this is when the Usos return. They take out Dolph and Baron. They take them out. And then they uncuff Roman. Time runs out as we go off the air with the usual 2 minutes still left before the top of the hour. But Fox, for some reason, always ends a couple minutes early. So we go off the air with the Usos raising the hand of Roman. So again, another situation, just like John Morrison returned and put the focus back on The Miz. The Usos return just to save Roman, first of all. And then when it goes off the air, they're pointing at Roman. So their return was basically for nothing. They're putting the attention right back onto Roman. Obviously, that's by design because that's what Vince wanted. So you brought the Usos back just to be pawns in the game of Roman Reigns. You brought the Usos back to what? Start a feud with Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler once Roman Reigns is done with them? If anybody out there is going, I don't know what you're saying, BC, that sounds memorable to me. BC, that sounds impactful to me, BC. I don't know what you expected. I expected the Usos to come back with an impact, baby. The Usos to come back in a memorable way. And if you don't have a way to do such, then you gotta leave that to people like yours truly, because I have 100 different ways that I was anticipating the Usos returning, just like Liv Morgan, just like even Sheamus, or even a John Morrison. And instead we got that. pile of shit last night. That was the end of SmackDown. I can't even say anymore. This was probably, 20 minutes of a review? I don't know what more I can speak about. Other than keep dragging them through the mud with the lackluster returns that they did last night. I have not much positive to say about this show. You look at those returns for the Usos, for Sheamus, and for Morrison. You look at Sasha Banks just getting defeated and literally crushed by Dana Brooke. You look at that main event, more dog food. What do you want me to say about the show? Am I supposed to speak about the awesome action in a 2-minute match with Dash and Shorty? Am I supposed to speak about the under 5-minute match between Kofi and Miz? I'm being too harsh, I'm being too critical, I'm being too negative. Am I, or am I just telling the truth? You tell me, because I know the answer. This is unacceptable in 2020. And I'm not allowing them any mulligans in 2020. In 2019, I at least allowed them a few. No, especially not from the jump. We're starting off 2020, and I'm seeing the same shit as years past. I'm not giving mulligans here. This is unacceptable. And I swear to you, every single review from here on out is going to be this harsh, this critical, and this negative if this type of shit continues. That was SmackDown for 1/3/2020. We'll go on to Monday Night Raw and we'll see what they have stemming off of this wedding between Lana and Lashley and the return of Liv Morgan. We'll see where we go from here. What we saw last night. And guys, I watched this at 3 a.m. I had a lot of business down in Delaware. So I got home really late. And after I took my shower, ate a little something, I said, no, let's just get SmackDown out of the way now. At 3 a.m., I started watching this thing. And by 3:30 a.m., I was like, what is going on? When it was all said and done, it didn't get any fucking better. What is today? This is Saturday. Yeah, so maybe there'll be an impromptu video Monday, but definitely Tuesday morning for the Raw review and reaction. No more mulligans. We're calling them out this year, guys. Oh, we're calling them out. They're going to know who the Amplified Man is, I assure you. For now, think, be, live, amplified always. Kick the rest of this weekend's ass. The Amplified Man, baby. Amplified always. Check you later.